Alright, here we are looking at the SAM paper, or the segment anything model paper. The task here is, regardless of how terrible the prompt is, and the prompt being a region of the image that is selected or identified to be segmented, this model promises to segment some, and gosh darn it, does it do what it promises. This is a very good segmenter. You give it a point, you give it an image, it will segment the image as promised. My only complaints, if I am even in a position to have complaints, is that there are no labels. So while it is exceptional at segmenting images, we can segment everything even, and everything is better than anything, I would say. Look at that. Look at this. It has literally segmented everything. All of the possible objects, it's got them. No labels though. So what this will allow you to do is you can give it an image, you can give it a box that you would like to be segmented, or you can have it segment the entire image, and it will do just that. One of the features that is actually useful is you can highlight a region, or you can even click the region and you can cut the object out. So there we go. Now we have the cat removed from this image. That was with the box, but the hover and click works just as well, and we can cut the object out, and there you go. Now we have the cat. That is awesome. Truthfully, I see no reason to download this model, but I did go ahead and download it. There are three weights that they have. There are three model checkpoints that they have available. The VIT-H is about 3 gigabytes, the VIT-L is about 1 gigabyte, and the VIT-B is about 300 megabyte. At these sizes, you might as well go with the H. Not very big compared to Llama. You know, those were like 10 times the size, 20 times the size in some cases. So you might as well go with the H, and that's what you're gonna get. Or just stick with the online demo. The online demo has it all packaged up. You don't need to pass in any prompt boxes or anything like that. It is truly one of the nicest demos I've ever seen. Again, the only really useful things I'm seeing here are being able to extract pieces of an image. This multi-mask feature just kind of explodes the object here. I'm not really sure what the purpose of that is, but if you find a use case for that, please let me know. But that is basically it. They also released a dataset with 11 million images and 1.1 billion masks. The masks are these segments here. This would be a mask, and this is another mask here, which is pretty impressive. But even more impressive, and through a process I don't fully understand, they are claiming that they used SAM to annotate the data for SAM, which is pretty crazy. Our data engine produced 1.1 billion masks. 99.1% were generated fully automatically. That's crazy. The data set they released, in fact, is only the automatically generated masks. Also pretty crazy. I think in the model card they said that it is possible that some of the generated masks are not. There's a possibility. I'm not saying that it is the case, but there is a possibility that some of the masks aren't correct, because to estimate the mask quality, as it says here, they randomly sampled 500 images and they asked professional annotators to create the true box, and then they compared the true box that the true segment that the annotators did themselves with the predicted segment, and they found that 94% of the pairs, or the comparisons between the segments that the annotators created and the segments that the model created, had a IOU greater than 90%, which means that there was a 90% overlap between the segment that the annotators created and the segment the model created, which is, you know, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But, you know, that means that there's a good chance that about 6% of the images might be off by about 10%. Maybe 3% of the images might be off by 75%. That's starting to get a little bit sketchy. And, you know, maybe 1% are off by like 50%. So I think they do mention in the dataset card, which is somewhere here, the masks are generated by a segmentation model, so there may be errors and inconsistencies in the mask. masks. They don't go into any detail here, but they are admitting that it's possible that the data set is slightly funky fresh. So if you are using that, I probably would consider checking it, but with 11 million images, I don't think a human is going to do much better than 90% either. One single human. I guess if you got a million humans to do it, you should expect better than an IOU of 90 for the entire data set. So that is pretty much it with this. Unfortunately, I don't have much more to say about this except my complaint that there are no classes, or these segments that come out are not labeled. So we look at this, it's not going to tell you that there's cats in the image. You can't pass in an image and ask it to extract the cats. I'm sure that back in the lab, in the FAIR research lab, they have that feature available, but that's not what they released. So really, I don't see downloading this to be anything of use, but I do see using this online demo being something that may be useful, especially for, you know, people on Instagram. They always seem to be wanting to remove people from images or extract themselves from images, and it seems that you can do that pretty easily. When we maybe save this and downloads here, what do we get back? Okay, so sweet. You can save the image and you get the cutout right there with no background. Very nice. So this is actually a useful tool, probably a lot easier than whatever Photoshop will do for you. So segment anything. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I really wish there were labels, but without the class labels, there's really not much I can say about this, except it does do what it set out to do. Regardless of how shoddy your selection is, it will create a mask, and that's what the clicking shows. That just putting my mouse on one point here, and it created a mask over the whole cat. Right here, created a mask over the leg, and it even does a pretty good job with, here we go, I have my truck of apples here, and look, it'll segment in some cases the individual apples here, which is pretty impressive, I think. Generally it gets the whole thing, but even occasionally it will get some of the individual apples here, and you can see that here. Look, it's getting some of the individual apples. I've seen it do better than that, actually, but we'll do another one here. Maybe Central Park, I think, was something else that I tried, and look, it gets the individual buildings here. It really does a good job of segmenting the image. So if you are into this, this is definitely the best tool for this purpose that exists, and you could potentially train a separate model to identify these classes, but that would start to get pretty difficult because you would ultimately need you know what, we'll put that on the back burner of the million of other things that I have claimed to want to do, but this might be something that is actually doable and useful with a high return. So that's segment everything, segment anything. It also segments everything, but the model is segment anything model. SAM, Facebook, Meta AI, they are on par with OpenAI for releasing free stuff. They might be the good guys at the end of the day here. You know, there's really no good guys, but you know, Meta has done what they have done, and you know, give thanks to them. SAM.